Hello, my name is Charles Smith, and I'm here to give you history of the National Football League. Here's my outline for today's speech, and here are my audience members. The National Football League is the most profitable professional sporting business in the United States today. However, in the beginning, the sport struggled to stand on its own as many of the original franchises folded, struggling to stay alive during the early years of its foundation. The National Football League is a professional American football league consisting of 32 teams divided equally between the National Football Conference and the American Football Conference. Each conference has 4 divisions with 4 teams split between the North, South, East, and West. Each team plays a 16-game schedule in a 17-week period, with the teams with the best record qualifying for the playoffs. The 2 remaining teams with the best record who did not win their division in each conference also enter the playoff as a wild card. The 12-team playoff consists of 6 teams in the American Football Conference bracket and 6 teams in the National Football Conference bracket, with the winner of each bracket advancing to the national championship known as the Super Bowl. The founding of the NFL started back in the 1920s. Pro football was always in a state of confusion due to 3 major problems, such as dramatically rising salaries, players continuously jumping from one team to another, following the highest offer, and the use of college players still enrolled in school. A league in which all these members would follow the same rules seemed to be the answer. An organizational meeting was held in Canton, Ohio on August 20th. This meeting resulted in the formation of the American Professional Football Conference. A second meeting was held on September 17th, where the name of the league was changed to the American Professional Football Association. Only 4 of the founding teams finished the 1920 schedule, and the undefeated Akron Pros claimed the first championship. Membership of the league increased to 22 teams, but throughout the 1920s, the membership was unstable, and the league was not a major national sport. On June 24, 1922, the organization, now headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, changed its title for the final name to the National Football League. The history of these teams began in the 1920s with the Chicago Cardinals, who are known today as the Arizona Cardinals. In 1960, they moved to St. Louis and renamed the St. Louis Cardinals. In 1988, they moved to Phoenix and renamed the Phoenix Cardinals. And in 1994, the Phoenix Cardinals changed their name to the Arizona Cardinals. They are the oldest team in the NFL. In 1920, the Chicago Bears joined the NFL, known as the Decatur Stanleys. In 1921, they changed their name to the Chicago Stanleys. And in 1922, they were changed to the Chicago Bears. In 1921, the Green Bay Packers joined the NFL and are the oldest team in the NFL to continuously play in one location under one name. In 1925, the New York Football Giants joined the NFL. In 1930, the Detroit Lions joined the NFL under the name the Portland Spartans. In 1934, they moved to Detroit and were renamed the Detroit Lions. They have not won a Super Bowl, but have won 4 NFL championships. The Washington Redskins joined the NFL in 1932, known as the Boston Braves. In 1933, they were renamed the Boston Redskins, and in 1937, moved to Washington and were renamed the Washington Redskins, which has always been a controversial mascot. In 1933, the Pittsburgh Steelers joined the NFL and were named the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in 1940, they were changed to the Pittsburgh Steelers and are tied for most Super Bowl wins with 6. In 1933, the Philadelphia Eagles joined the NFL and were the first team to be nationally televised. In 1937, the LA Rams joined the NFL under the name the Cleveland Rams. In 1946, they moved to Los Angeles and were renamed the Los Angeles Rams. In 1995, they moved to St. Louis and were renamed the St. Louis Rams. And in 2016, returned to Los Angeles and were renamed the Los Angeles Rams. They were the first team to have a helmet logo. In 1950, the San Francisco 49ers joined the NFL. Also in 1950, the Cleveland Browns joined the NFL. In 1996, they were deactivated, and in 1999, the Browns franchise was reactivated. In 1952, the Dallas Texans were the last NFL team to fold. And in 1953, the Indianapolis Colts joined the NFL under the name the Baltimore Colts. And in 1984, moved to Indianapolis and renamed Indianapolis Colts. In 1960, the Dallas Cowboys joined the NFL, and they're the most valuable sports team in the world. 1960s, the AFL began their operation as the NFL held a monopoly on the professional football business in the United States for most of the 1950s. By the 1960s, a group of potential professional football owners that would become known as the Foolish Club had become frustrated with their efforts to buy into the NFL and formed a new league, the American Football League, and the AFL would prove to be the NFL's most formidable challenger to date. The AFL brought over 8 teams. The San Diego Chargers joined in 1960, where they were known as the Los Angeles Chargers. In 1961, they moved to San Diego and renamed the San Diego Chargers. And in 2017, they returned to Los Angeles under the name the Los Angeles Chargers. 1960, the New England Patriots joined the AFL under the name the Boston Patriots. And in 1971, they were renamed the New England Patriots. They have the most Super Bowl appearances and tied for most Super Bowl wins. In 1960, the Kansas City Chiefs joined the AFL as the Dallas Texans, which is a different franchise from the other in the NFL. And in 1963, they moved to Kansas City and renamed the Kansas City Chiefs. They had the second longest Super Bowl drought, with their last appearance in a Super Bowl being Super Bowl IV, which is 49 years ago. The New York Jets joined the AFL as the Titans of New York in 1960. 1963, they were renamed to the New York Jets. They have the longest Super Bowl drought, last appearing at Super Bowl III, which was 50 years ago. The Denver Broncos joined the AFL in 1960, and they share a record for most Super Bowl losses at 5. The 1960s, the Buffalo Bills joined the AFL, and they have appeared in 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost all 4 of them. The Oakland Raiders joined the AFL in 1960, and in 1982 moved to Los Angeles and renamed the Los Angeles Rams, or Los Angeles Raiders. In 1995, they moved back to Oakland, and then in 2020, they will move to Las Vegas and be renamed the Las Vegas Raiders. 1960, the Houston Oilers joined the AFL, and in 1999, they moved to Nashville and were renamed the Tennessee Oilers. In 1999, they were renamed the Tennessee Titans that we know today. The next year, the NFL added one new team, the Minnesota Vikings, in 1961. They have been to 4 Super Bowls and have lost all 4 of them. By the 1960s, competition for players between the 2 leagues was resulting in an increase of player salaries. And by 1966, the 2 leagues agreed on their merger. The 2 leagues would hold a common draft, and at the end of the season, a World Championship game would be held between the 2 leagues. This would later be known as the Super Bowl. During that same year, the Miami Dolphins were instated into the AFL in 1966 and are the only team to go undefeated and win a Super Bowl in the same year. That same year, 1966, the Atlanta Falcons joined the NFL. Then in 1967, the New Orleans Saints joined the NFL. Their football stadium was used as refuge for those affected by Hurricane Katrina. In 1968, the Cincinnati Bengals joined the AFL. In the 1970s, the two leagues fully merged under the name the National Football League as we know it today. And by 1976, the Seattle Seahawks joined the NFL. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers joined the NFL in 1976. In 1995, the Carolina Panthers joined the NFL, as did the Jacksonville Jaguars in 1995. In 1996, the Baltimore Ravens were enfranchised with the remaining players and staff from the deactivated Cleveland Browns. However, the history of the Browns was kept in the city of Cleveland, and the Ravens were enfranchised as an expansion team. The most recent team to be enfranchised are the Houston Texans, who joined in 2002. They have never appeared in a conference championship. During this time, the 4 divisions were created, and in the 2 separate conferences with 4 teams in each division. The NFL has significantly stabilized since its founding, with the last team to fold entirely in 1952. NFL teams provide huge amounts of business for the areas where they're located. However, these teams demand updated facilities at the cost of the city's revenue. Cities that do not provide their NFL team with their demands are at risk of losing their team, as is the reason the Raiders are slated to move to Las Vegas in 2020. The NFL has transformed from a struggling sports business into the largest in the United States that can even control the city they are based in.